Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I just arrived this morning flying from Bahrain's conference, which was the one that was brought by the Americans with Jared Kushner and the rest of the White House and a lot of other delegations. And the focus was on the peace and prosperity. And if you follow me on social media, I've been posting a lot on that and sharing that as much as possible because personally I have a keen interest in that being a success. And it has mixed reviews from what, if you see the social media, and if you speak good Arabic, you would understand not everybody feels it's possible to succeed or if it's worth doing. But some of us believe in it. I'm with that group. I believe that will help the region. And I can let you know that the younger generation are very similar to the rest of the millennials around the world. They are influenced. They go on Reddit. They go on discussion panels. They watch TED Talks. They're not so different. I talk about that because it's important for me. When I was invited for it, I rejected it. I said, I have to be in Barcelona. I have a night event with the Chamber of Commerce at Terrassa. We worked for it. I met with His Excellency at the beginning of Ramadan, or even before Ramadan, to plan this. I visited Foment, brought a friend of mine from a DMCC member from Africa as well. I'm an impatient person. I am really impatient. And it's not, and that is one of my weaknesses. I don't know if there are too many or not. In any case, the workshop, in my opinion, was a success. It will create a domino effect. It might not work out the way everyone wants to. It might be too aspirational, and I know it's a big challenge. But that area was peaceful at one point. That area, changed hands a lot of times in the last thousands of years. But what's important really, what I found was interesting, is that they were bringing the private sector into this. They were getting them engaged. And in some of my discussions and interviews, I said that changes the platform a little bit. That it's not just two politicians talking from what we see on TV and discussing. Not to say they don't have the best intention, but when the private sector is involved, there's a lot more that's on the line. We've witnessed that. I give you a few examples. The head of Tesla can't tweet what he wants, can't talk about stock, can't play around. So, with Uber as well, I think the founder got into trouble a little bit with his behavior. They have to behave, they have to show, because there is an interest. And they touched on so many things: school, education, health, infrastructure. That is good. It shows what's on the other side, not just one person's promise. It's a lot of discussion. That's something new, and I think it sheds the light on what the new generation is. Who are they? What are the new ideas? Yes, people change, and what's interesting about our world is that we get more and more complex. We get more and more sophisticated. We get faster. You bring the tools we have today to somebody from 100 years ago, they won't even pick it up. They will get on the horse or whatever, but this will not make sense to sit in one place. But for us, I have back pains from looking at my iPhone, and I'm waiting for it to be on my sunglasses or embedded, I guess. But we're changing. I don't know if we'll be half robot in 200 years or not, but who knows. In any case, my point is, when you look at Dubai, when you look at the UAE, don't look at just this 5 years. Look at the next 3 cycles. Plan like that, because they are looking that far ahead. They are looking short term, medium term, and the idea is to integrate the whole Middle East. What's good for Palestine and Israel is good for the whole region, and that's the way forward. It's not my part to talk politics. That's what I said when I wanted to avoid it as well, but the world is changing. Back to our event today, Made for Trade Live, Barcelona. the focus was a lot in London the past few years, and I pushed for Spain, and I forced it last year, Madrid and Barcelona, and the turnout, the engagement was really refreshing for me personally, and it showed that we are missing out here. We have, I don't believe there's a big language barrier and all that, but we have to engage. You have to see us. You have to talk. And my colleagues are here. We do have a number of businesses from Spain engaging also in DMCC. I think there's a lot of familiarity with Dubai, but for those who are not familiar with Dubai, if you haven't been to Dubai for the past 10 years, the city has changed many times over. I used to notice when I visit Dubai that there are new roads or a new building, but these things don't surprise me anymore. I don't even notice if a new building is up or an old building comes down, a new building comes up. That's become normal. What surprises me, and this brings this a little bit is reflective of what I said earlier about the Peace and Prosperity workshop in Bahrain, is that people's minds changed. Like their views have changed, I'm not against conservatism. I'm not with very liberalism or that. It's just that people have their opinions and they're becoming more and more global. And I believe even Spain itself, about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, there was articles about how people who are born in one city actually die not too far away from the radius. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't like talking about another country. But the last 10 years or 5 years, you're more international. Some of your youth with their masters are working in England and working around the world, are traveling around. Things are changing, and Dubai is ready for that change. Dubai is studying the matter, getting ideas, dropping bad ideas, not worried about making a mistake here and there. So there are a few things that's happening in Dubai, one of which I believe is the Expo 2020 that's coming. For me personally, it was great pride in 2013 when we won, and we were up against Russia at that time. A lot of the GCC countries were supporting the UAE, maybe with the exception of one confused country. But going with, and they won, I was really happy, because it's a recognition that Dubai deserves. Dubai is literally the gateway, the commercial gateway to the rest of the Middle Eastern region, even if some don't want to admit it. When there's an event where there's meetings and all that, they do prefer to go to Dubai. And I know other cities are going to develop and are going to be competitive. Yes, we like to give that influence, and we like to attract that competition. More competition breeds quality. And I know that Spain is gonna really impress with this pavilion and the Expo. I do look forward to visiting that. And Spain has competition with the Expo 2020. I'm sure Portugal will be there somewhere, huh? In any case, I was asked if the Expo 2020 would it succeed, and I don't like being asked these questions because I don't like giving an answer I don't know about. My response was, give it some time and we'll find out. But I still don't like that answer. But to me, the Expo is kind of like the World Cup. It can be a hit and miss, and it depends on the people who are hosting it. It depends on the region and their speed. But the fact that if you want to truly experience what a cosmopolitan Arabic city is, an advanced one, there is no second to Dubai. We're far ahead, and we're still hungry, and we still want to achieve more. So it's not what we've achieved. It's not just the accolades. It's the attitude in Dubai that makes it different from the rest. I was asked about why is His Highness building more than the Palm Jumeirah. As I was driving, a diamond expert, Chaim Ibn Zohar, he writes for Taysi Limited and Diamond Brief. He said, didn't His Highness make his point by building the Palm? Why is he focusing on the world islands and other initiatives and Jebel Ali? I said, because that wasn't the point. The point is to stay active and build and create. I'm very surprised that my team put out some points, and we're not talking about DMCC yet. I think they want to leave all the good stuff for them. They put coffee. I think they're demoting me to just coffee. In any case, and I'll touch on DMCC. DMCC was an initiative that not many did not believe in it in Dubai itself. And when I joined, I was about 22 years old in 2001. And it was a workshop, if you will. It was a concept. It wasn't put on paper. It wasn't cast on stone yet. It's an idea that was rejected a few times. To my luck, it got accepted when I was around. And I was asked, would you join? And I'm not going to hide anything from you guys. I struggled in my schools and college. And for me, it's an opportunity to learn. And I thought, something about gold, and it's standard. Gold has been traded for thousands of years. I had no idea we had to start everything from scratch. We had to relook at the customs rules. We need to look at what's stopping the diamond business and gold business from coming. And we worked with the customs authority, Dubai Customs, the Federal Customs, the GCC Customs that agreed to remove the duties on rough diamonds, which opened the door there. We had to create the Kimberley process. In 2016, the UAE was the chair of the Kimberley process, representing 85 countries, NGOs, and the industry. And if you ask a lot of the international stakeholders in the diamond industry, they'll tell you the UAE was the most influential chairmanship they've ever experienced. Even today, they depend on us a lot. It's because we took the challenges as an opportunity to better ourselves, to better the industry. And that's something that we will continue to do so. The challenge we faced in early days of DMCC was which commodity to start with. And I knew that Dubai, being seen as a city of gold, it's important to attract the gold business. So we focused on the gold refineries, the physical side. But I'm sure my team will touch on it in more detail. But just to run by you some of the products that are operational in DMCC, we created early on what was called Dubai Commodity Receipts. Today it's called Trade Flow. It's a warehouse electronic receipts that brings warehouse operators together, collateral managers, bankers, all under one system that falls well with Basel 1, Basel 2 today, and adds more credit to the small players and the big players that want to be involved, and gives more trust to the bankers, where the goods are also collateral in case the transaction doesn't go through. It's also a delivery point to the Gold and Commodities Exchange. We launched the Dubai Gold and Commodities Exchange, the first online derivative exchange in the region. We launched a few products there. Our star performing contract on that exchange is the Rupee Future contract. And that's after we launched the currency pairs. I see my team have coffee only for me. We also look at, we're looking at listing coffee futures. We understand in the industry that it's a duopoly today between Arabica coffee and Robusta coffee, between NYMEX and ICE. We want to talk to the coffee industry, see what would help them more. We want these contracts to be reflective of what's happening on the ground. I mention these examples so you can understand that my team, the city, and the government looks in depth into these opportunities. We want to understand. It's not enough for us to come here and talk in Spanish and all this. We really want it integrated. And not to scare anyone, I think technology might make Spanish obsolete, where I think there is a Google instrument or some new technology where you speak in your language, it translated it into the other language. It's new now, but it will save you in China, because I know that learning Mandarin and Cantonese is not like learning French or Latin, where everything is similar. In any case, we launched the coffee center at the end of last year. Finally, I'm talking about the coffee center you guys put for me here. And the reason we went with that is because we were successful with the tea center. Dubai today re-exports 60% of world teas, 60%. You could say maybe that's because of India consuming most of its production, and the same with China. Regardless, think of who else Dubai beat. The rest of the ports in the Middle East, in Europe, 60% of that coming through Dubai. I couldn't ignore the opportunity of creating a coffee center alongside our tea center. Our tea center provides blending facilities, packaging, testing. We even partnered with Gundlach to have tea tag printing. From that time on, Dubai was printing, I think, almost a third or a fourth, between a third and a fourth of the world's tea tags, just by having that partnership. It isn't a competition of being the bigger and all that. It was just an opportunity to provide the surface and add more facilities. If you visit the Almas Tower, the tallest office tower in the Middle East, tallest diamond tower in the world, an active building, you'll see our free zone there, our registration, our license, but you'll also see the JLT Service Center, which provides all services like driver's license, visas, insurance, telecommunication. Why do we put that there? So our members, when they come, they don't drive around Dubai and get stuck in some of the traffic you hear about or you see on social media. You come there and everything is done. And that's what we're here for, to be efficient, to keep to have a smooth process for yourself, and we will not sit on that. We'll look at ways of doing it faster. 90%, if not more, of setting up your company can be done online. I still insist that I have to see the person who's registering, because I still worry about things getting hacked. And at some stage, we might even check if the person is a robot, but that's 50 years from today. Coming back to the coffee center, the reason we went for the coffee center is simple. I didn't take the advice of Waterhouse, even though we paid for them to shortlist which commodity to focus on. They rightfully, they used an algorithm system based on the HS code of customs, seeing where the flow of commodities comes and goes. The top suggestions were halal meat, powdered milk. I liked black pepper. I also liked saffron, that was there as well. Saffron was there. My issue with saffron is that Iran's production went to zero, and I don't know where that saffron is going. So until that's clear, I didn't want to touch it. I asked for coffee instead, and they said, why coffee? It's number 13 or 15 on their list. And I was surprised that we are paying them, and they're telling me what should be done. That's not what we do. I take note of their advice. I said, first of all, with all due respect to the HS code algorithm, if we use that, they would never tell us to touch diamonds. Today, Dubai is on the verge of being the largest diamond center in the world. We are having tenders, rough diamond tenders, as I'm speaking with you today, and the diamond industry is going through a very bad time right now. Maybe worse than the first global recession, as from what I know in the field and all that. But it's still active. We're close to Surat, the largest producer of polished diamonds. They have a direct flight today to the UAE. The dynamics are there. We are, in some ways, economically, we're part of India. You need to look at Dubai as a gateway to India as well. That is a reality. A lot of the big families in India are based in Dubai. Kind of like the big families in Latin America are based in Miami. There is that type of relationship. So my point to them was, your study would have not told us to focus on diamonds or build the tallest diamond tower. They were a bit defensive, saying, oh, but if customs was transparent, I'm like, customs are not transparent today and not in the future. You know, it's fine. It's a good indicator. My second reason was 80% of the countries that produce teas also produce coffee. So the network is already there. And as I said, I'm very impatient, and I love to save time as much as possible. Yes, I won't watch a movie, just the ending. No, I want to see the whole thing, but I am an impatient person. And the third reason was very simple. I've noticed in the last 6 years that the coffee culture has changed. People are no longer going just for Starbucks or this and that. They're going for single origin coffees. They want to know what farm it's coming from. They were looking for infused coffee, cold drip coffee, cold brew coffee, the bulletproof coffee. And the coffee industry is getting more and more innovative with new ideas and new products. And that has happened in our region. That's my point about how our community is not too different from the rest of the millennials of the civilized world, because they love to be up to date with the new trends, not just fashion and cars. In fact, there's a group that are not into cars. They don't want to be in driving and going that. They want to be more active. They want to pay for experiences. You'd see them walking up the highest points in Kilimanjaro or going to Antarctica. We see that. I mean, just follow hashtag My Dubai. Ignore the bags that pop out. I don't know why the bags come up with hashtag My Dubai, but the other stories. So my point was, every house in Dubai has one or two experts in coffee that's going to talk about DMCC and the coffee center, or at least somebody that thinks they're an expert and will educate them. And in either case, they are embracing the coffee industry. And what we added to the coffee center, what we have in it is a coffee lab. It's a 7,500 square meter temperature controlled warehouse, storage facility. We have blending, packaging, a coffee lab, a training institute as well. And I haven't told my team, but I would like them to add a cold brew facility in it. That's a recommendation I had on my visit to Miami while I was connected with a coffee company based in New York. The US is growing as a coffee market. It's scary, but it's good as well. They're growing so much, and they've done a good job at getting our youth away from the poisonous energy drinks that they drink all the time and networks and all that, and bringing back the coffee, making it hip. Some of the top coffee places. There's one that His Excellency took me to, and the name escapes me. ما تذكرها شو اسمها؟ Huh? Hidden. And you have Blue Bottle and new concepts coming up. We like the coffee industry. I personally like them because when we pushed for the tea center, we had the Global Tea Forum. And the first forum was, some of the points that were discussed is, why is the tea industry behind the coffee industry? What are they doing that the tea industry doesn't know? Why is there a coffee future contract and there is no tea future? And the reason is simple. They don't like to standardize their products, the tea industry. Their teas are special. Just like the diamonds, you'll never see a diamond future contract. There are attempts, it's not going to work. It could change in the future. And even the coffee contracts that we have today don't reflect what's happening on the ground. So we don't know how that's going to be. In any case, my last point was, it was purely for selfish reasons. I want the community to be more interconnected with what DMCC is doing. Now I've run out of this small speech my team has put together. I'm very curious at what you've skipped from my speech, but what are the big stories that are coming up in DMCC? We are expanding DMCC. We're constructing the Uptown Tower, a 78-story building. It's a concept that I rejected for Almas Tower. Almas Tower was a mixed-use building, 40 stories at the time of the design, half hotel, half offices. I saw the challenges of adding a hotel, eating up the efficiency of the office, and our main target is are the companies. It's very important that the companies are operating efficiently from the building, nothing blocking their view. We don't burn the office space. So I came back to my management, told them, look, I have an idea. The hotel is not on the top, not on the bottom. They asked me where it is. It's not there. Let's just keep it as an office space. They assumed I meant from 40-story to 20. I said, no, we'll keep it 40. And where are we going to get all the companies? I said, it's my neck. You can fire me if I fail. Almas Tower in 2004, end of 2004, DMCC represented only 480 companies at the time. Almas Tower was sold out to end users in one day. We had an Oracle system. We didn't use any broker. We didn't use any of the property companies. We said we want to do right by the end users. I did not like what was happening in the rest of the property market, the big lines of people looking to buy and flip it. When the final person who's coming with their family to move into the house is paying maybe twice the premium, 3 times the premium. Why? The perception is important, the reputation is important, and I'm going to be living with these members. So we did that. It was risky, and the 480 companies bought all of these units. They moved in, and some came later as well. That changed Dubai. A lot of the other property companies learned from this experience. In any case, the tower is not 40-story. I was wrong. It ended up to be 63 floors of office space. It has companies like Bulgari, McCourier, Rosy Blue Diamonds. Pretty much all of the top diamond tiers have a base there. And even the new big players, whether it be De Beers or Rosa, they all have a presence there. And we might not have the same success we do with diamonds and other commodities, but we use the same recipe, we use the same respect and the same attention. And the other thing about DMCC that doesn't get credit a lot for, DMCC is the largest oil and gas free zone in the UAE. Pretty much all of the oil and gas companies that are in the Middle East or within around us are based in DMCC. Some are even in Al Mas Tower itself. We couldn't stop them. I mean, if he's a paying customer, he's a paying customer. We're like, this is for diamonds. They would say, well, oil is also carbon, which I stopped arguing. We have pretty much everyone with the exception of Shell and BP, because both of them, they don't see themselves as companies. I think they see themselves as planets and with special licenses. I said, look, if you want to be part of the market, we're here. And they're doing great things. I mean, I respect Shell a lot. They have the floating LNG project, which until today looks like a Star Wars movie to me. I'm supposed to leave some time for my friends. I just want to say that this is not only going to be my first and second time to come to Barcelona. I will make a habit of being here. And even if DMCC doesn't have it next year in the calendar to come, I will come with another government organization and promote DMCC and work with you, and vice versa, bringing businesses to Barcelona, because I like the attitude of Barcelona. I like the competitiveness of it, yeah? And I also like the Barcelona team, not because I'm a Barcelona fan. I just like watching Madrid lose. I really like doing that. Thank you.